can I jump right into asking
Sure,
you
please
some
go ahead.
questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, because I would like to hear, as you may know through the videos you've already seen, I am a pretty new Lutheran, and this is like my LRC anniversary, 1 year. But you have a much larger scope of things. And so I was
Yeah.
hoping that you would be able to talk a little bit um, on what you've been able to observe from the beginning of LRC to now.
Okay.
How has it lived into its original vision and how has it become different?
Okay. The beginning was with David Rhodes, a New Testament scholar, who just wasn't content just being an academic, and he was aware that there were some crises going on, and he thought that Lutherans have something to say about this. And he was the one who really began walking the walk. In other words, he contacted me and said, we just uh, can't talk the talk. We got to do something. And so it was he who began this and um, took the first step with Lutherans restoring creation. And part of it was that he had the sense that Lutherans have something to offer that's, if not unique, is really down to earth, and that he thought we uh, should do that. And so he began um, contacting former students, people whom he knew in the church. He was fairly well traveled in the church, so he had a number of connections and began to develop a mailing list. That was what we had in the old days. And I was the one who sort of stepped back and sort of try to figure out now what is it that we uh, particularly have to offer. And I kept pressing that we have to think in terms of brace yourself, two metaphors that when we're walking, what we're thinking about. One is the traditional, in many religions, but especially in Christianity, the traditional uh, uh, metaphor of rising above it all to commune with God. And God is up, and it still makes some real sense. But one of the things that we thought, and I thought in particular that Lutherans have to offer, is that there's this downward thrust in Lutheran theology. I mean, Luther is reputed to be very earthy, and that's good to talk about and quote selected quotes and everything. But his whole theology was basically a theology of creation. It wasn't medieval in the sense that the goal of spirituality in the Middle Ages was to rise above this finite world, to commune with God, rise through the angels, get to the Holy of Holies. For Luther, it's always to be found to, to hear and where you walk and what you do and to whom you're related and how you're related. And it wasn't, as I say, it wasn't just his renowned earthiness, but his whole theology was basically a theology of of creation, how we live in this concrete world. And so David was the one who was sort of uh, the organizer and the connector, and I was the one who was sort of filling in the theological substratum. I mean, we were conversing about all these issues at all the time, and so we, by the grace of God, came into this vision of a movement, not an organization, but a movement in the church which would be uh, earth oriented as well as justice oriented. And that's sort of how it happened.